not the kind of phishing we're talking about. The phishing we're talking about will get your passwords stolen. So if you have an MSN, Yahoo or Gmail account and you want to keep it safe, be sure to watch a little segment on phishing. After that we have Rohan. Now Rohan is going to show you how you can pump water into your CPU cabinet and still have it working. After that, he may tend to get a little touchy-feely with me, but hey, he's showing you touchscreen phones and how they work. I'll be back later and show you how to groove with your music online. And to kick off this show, we have this alien behind me who's wearing these funny looking glasses. So, why don't I just hand it over to him. Michael?
Aren't you guys tired of all this 2D technology? Games. You're supposed to be playing 3D games. 3D movies. It's a whole heap of rubbish. That's not 3D at all. For truly natural 3D vision, each eye should be able to see from a different perspective so that you can perceive depth. Else it's just a flat image that you're watching, regardless of whether it's a game or whatever it is you're doing. Many of you guys must have gone to watch Chhota Chetan, which was one of the 3D movies that was released. So there are some kind of blurry red-blue images that were transformed into 3D when you put on a pair of multicolored glasses. So this was basically a very basic traditional kind of approach using two superimposed images, right? Where your filtered glasses gave you a slightly different view from each eye. So of course, like I said, very rudimentary. So I'm wearing something over here, and for all you guys wondering why I was wearing these, well, they look like a pair of sunglasses. They are, in fact. This is NVIDIA's GeForce 3D Vision that I've got on. So it's more than just a neat looking pair of sunglasses. So what you see here, which is actually supposed to be glass, is actually liquid crystals. The same liquid crystals basically used in your LCDs, right? Your LCD monitors, your LCD TVs, so on and so forth. So as you can see, they're cool looking. So you don't look like a geek gamer who's just walked out some kind of a gaming parlor, or like one of those crazy movie buffs with those, you have those big kind of weird looking glasses. So liquid crystals, as we all know, can allow light to pass through them or hold back light. That is, they can be transparent or opaque, and these work in the same way. So what happens is that up to 20 times a second, these can actually turn on and off, thereby giving you a view or blocking your view. So what you notice is a very slight flickering. Now this technology is known as LCD shutter. So what happens, this LCD shutter is basically synchronized to work with the game. So what happens is, it works with the game in such a way that you get two slightly different points of view. So basically what you see from your left eye is a little different from the image that you see from your right eye. So basically it's just drawing two slightly different images. If you take off the glasses and look at what you're seeing on screen, you'll actually see a kind of a blurry ghost kind of an image over there. So you'll feel, supposing there's a game character on screen with a gun in his hand, so you'll see like two of those characters, one and the other one a little to the side. When you put on the glasses, so basically it fools your eyes, it kind of emulates proper 3D. A little bit of a disadvantage, of course, of this is that your graphics card, when you enable this NVIDIA GeForce 3D Vision, when you enable it in your graphics card settings, what happens is that your graphics card in reality has to actually draw two images. So the frames per second drops to half. It works pretty well. We've used them, we've tested them this month. You can check out our Bazaar review. They work pretty well. Game support is lacking at the moment. There are just a handful of games that support these glasses. One of the latest titles which really does work well and seems to work without any sort of hitch or flaw is Batman Arkham Asylum. The glasses are also supposed to support Crysis and Crysis Warhead. We tried the glasses on those two games, but we weren't really satisfied with the output, because there are a couple of instances where where some noticeable ghosting can be seen on screen, where you have two crosshair pointers, so you don't actually know where you're shooting and who you're aiming at. But with Batman Arkham Asylum, everything seems to be up to the mark. So other than the odd quirk where you can actually see a little bit of a shaky image, or where I mentioned the actual drawing of 20 times a second, So you can make out a little bit, there are some lines that come across the screen randomly as you're walking through the levels of the game. Other than that, everything looks pretty much perfect. So this is what I'm wearing is a very exciting product. First of all, it's a very bold move. It's the first of its kind. It's something which we're hoping we would see a lot more of in the coming years. See, games are getting more interactive. Games are getting more, I mean, you have these very vast storylines. You have multiple characters. You have an interactive game world. You can have multiple endings. So that's all from the developer point of view. You find companies like Nvidia and ATI working with developers to give you better visuals. We've seen DX9, we've seen DX10, we've seen DX11. So one could stop to wonder, where is this all going to? Where is it leading up to? So realism, games that mimic reality. So you're never going to have a game which is completely real and plays out as we live our life. I mean, that would be pretty boring. But the next level of realism is making what you see more believable. A lot of people agree on gameplay is what makes a game. Well, recently a lot of games that have come out, I mean 80% of the gameplay has been in the visuals. If you look at games like Crisis Warhead, look at games like Far Cry 2, I personally thought the game was pretty decent. Far Cry 2 has some amazing battles, amazing visuals, and it is just a beautiful looking game. It is an incredibly realistic looking game. But then again, when you put on a pair of these, you can take that level of realism to a whole new dimension. So obviously Nvidia, the word Nvidia means these glasses are largely locked to an Nvidia graphics card. So obviously if you were to buy an ATI graphics card, you wouldn't see anything of what the guys at Nvidia intended you to see. That being said, if you do happen to have an Nvidia graphics card in the range of the 9800 GTX and above, which is what these glasses support, you could actually take advantage of your graphics card and pick up a pair of glasses. I believe they priced around rupees 5,000 in India, which is not very unreasonable. I mean, gamers spending 5 and 6 hours a day at their PCs gaming would surely appreciate something like this, particularly guys who are interested in games with visuals, games with lengthy single player campaigns where the realism all adds up. So this is a product which I for one would highly recommend, and I'm myself waiting to get my hands on my very own piece, because a lot of the upcoming DX11 titles are sure to support these. Overall, a very, very cool product, one which you had a lot of fun with, and of course you can check out our Bazaar review as well to see how well it did.
Hello, we'll be showing you how to take 3D anaglyphic photographs. What you need to do is shoot an object in slightly different perspectives. We'll run that by you again. Basically each perspective is for each eye. Now you open up these files in Photoshop or any image editing software will do that lets you play around with layers and color balance. Now copy one image, paste it on the other image, go to the menu image adjustment in Photoshop, change the color balance of one image all the way to cyan and change the color balance of the other image all the way to magenta. It doesn't really matter which layer you choose to make cyan and magenta. Go to the layer on top and change the transparency to 50%. That's it. Your 3D anaglyphic image is ready, and you need to get 3D glasses to look at these, so head over to 3dindia.com and pick up a pair.